People around you in the bus are all wearing black, navy, beige, and the occasional safe burgundy, and you've shown up in purple. There is a reason why purple speaks to you on a personal level. The ancient Phoenicians would understand you well. They dove deep into Mediterranean waters, cracking open thousands of murex snails to extract a single gram of Tyrian purple dye. 1 gram from 12,000 snails, if you can fathom that level of devotion. They created the most expensive color in human history, worth more than gold, reserved for emperors and gods. And here you are, millennia later, still gravitating toward the shade that once meant you'd either rule an empire or commune with the divine. Your brain chemistry tells part of the story. Purple sits at the edge of the visible spectrum, where red's heat crashes into blue's cool logic, creating something that shouldn't quite exist but does anyway. When you look at purple, your eyes are actually working harder than with any other color because you're processing 2 wavelengths simultaneously. Red and blue receptors firing together in a kind of optical jazz improvisation. Your nervous system loves this complexity, the way some people love crossword puzzles or unraveling mystery novels. You're drawn to paradox, to things that contain their opposite, to the space where seeming contradictions hold hands and dance. People who wrap themselves in purple tones tend to live with one foot in the practical world, and the other somewhere nobody else can quite map. Where others see opposing forces that must battle to the death, you see dance partners. Introvert and extrovert, you contain both, often within the same afternoon. Dreamer and doer, you've built dreams with your bare hands. Spiritual and skeptical, you hold space for mystery while demanding that ideas prove themselves worthy of your attention. The psychology research on purple reveals some genuinely weird patterns. In color preference studies across cultures, purple consistently ranks as either highly loved or actively disliked with very little middle ground. It's the most polarizing color in the spectrum. About 75% of pre-adolescent children prefer purple to other colors, but this drops dramatically in adulthood. Gender plays a strange role. Purple is the most preferred color among women in multiple studies, while men rate it significantly lower. Here's where you differ from your blue-loving cousins who seek tranquility and your red-loving neighbors who chase intensity. You want transformation. Blue people want peace. Red people want passion. Green people want growth. But you want the caterpillar to butterfly thing, the lead to gold thing, the ordinary person discovering they can fly thing. You're drawn to thresholds, to moments of becoming, to the crack between what was and what's emerging. This is why you feel so at home in liminal spaces, dusk and dawn, autumn and spring, the moment before a decision becomes action. You understand that the most interesting part of any story happens in the transition. The Romans were not dumb to go absolutely feral for Tyrian purple. The economics behind it looks like something out of a fever dream. A pound of purple dyed silk cost roughly 3 pounds of gold. Cleopatra soaked the sails of her ships in it just to flex. Emperor Nero made it illegal for anyone except himself to wear certain shades of purple, punishable by death. This color is not for the weak. Your relationship with power fascinates people. You possess natural authority, but it shows up differently than the aggressive, chest-puffing kind. Yours comes from self-possession, from the centered quality of someone who has done their inner work and knows who they are when nobody's watching. You can be surprisingly fierce when your values get threatened, but you'd rather inspire than dominate. You've got that rare combination of confidence and humility. You know your worth without needing to diminish anyone else's, and you're genuinely interested in helping others find their own power. You're hungry for meaning, for connection to something larger than the daily grind of email and errands. You sense that reality has more layers than the obvious ones, that there are patterns and connections most people miss because they're moving too fast or looking in the wrong direction. You're the person who notices synchronicities, who pays attention to dreams, who takes seriously the quiet voice that whispers insights when you're not trying to force anything. You've probably noticed that you intimidate some people without meaning to. It's not arrogance on your part. In fact, you're often surprised when someone tells you they found you intimidating. What's happening is that your completeness, your integration of seemingly opposite qualities, your comfort with depth and complexity, makes people who are still wrestling with their own contradictions feel exposed somehow. Your presence asks questions without you saying a word. Are you living authentically? Are you honoring your whole self? Have you done the work? Some people love you for asking these questions silently. Others edge away, and you've learned to let them. Purple and yellow gold are complementary colors, sitting opposite each other on the color wheel, which means they create maximum contrast and visual vibration when placed side by side. This is neuroscience. When complementary colors adjoin, the edge between them appears to shimmer because your opponent processed visual neurons are getting maximally stimulated in opposite directions. Medieval and Renaissance painters knew this intuitively, draping purple-robed Marys against golden backgrounds, creating images that seemed to vibrate with supernatural energy. The Byzantines covered entire cathedral interiors with gold mosaics and purple porphyry marble specifically to create this optical intensity, turning architecture into instruments for inducing altered states of consciousness. Your relationship with convention is complicated. You can play the game when needed, show up appropriately dressed, use the right fork, speak the language of whatever world you're moving through, but you never quite belong to these systems. You're always slightly outside, observing, choosing which rules serve actual human flourishing, and which ones exist only to perpetuate someone else's power or comfort. The comfortable. You respect traditions that carry wisdom, that connect people across generations, that honor something true. You have patience for rituals that transform participants, but arbitrary rules that exist only because that's how we've always done it are empty of meaning for you. In relationships, you bring intensity that some people find thrilling and others find exhausting. You want real connection, not performance. You can handle someone's darkness, their complicated feelings, their weird middle-of-the-night thoughts, because you've got plenty of your own, and you've learned that pretending to be simpler than you are only leads to loneliness in a crowd. You offer people permission to be multifaceted, to be brilliant and broken, wise and still learning. You're attracted to authenticity like moths to flame, and you can spot a fake from across a crowded room. You carry royalty in your bearing, even if you were raised in the most ordinary circumstances. It's not about snobbery or thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about knowing that every human being contains nobility, that consciousness itself is miraculous, that walking around in a body having experiences on a spinning rock in infinite space is so wildly improbable that we should all probably be in awe every single day. You treat yourself and others as sovereign beings because you've glimpsed the extraordinary hiding inside the ordinary. This gives you a natural dignity that has nothing to do with social status and everything to do with recognizing the sacred in the everyday.